I've been constantly knitting for the last 2 years and I have knitted quite a bunch of items. And today I decided to ask my partner to rate and choose top 10 of my knitted garments because I was curious what a knitter may think about my knitted items, and let's see what he chose. Hi there, my name is Alena and this is my knitting channel, and today we have quite an interesting episode. I hope that you'll find it enjoyable as well, and let me know in the comments below what do you think about those patterns that my husband chose. So, according to his rating, on the 10th place will be Charles' blouse. It was a test knit for Johanna Gehrisch, and right now she has also a sweater version of this blouse, kind of like slightly bigger gauge, slightly less transparent mohair parts, but I still think that the blouse looks quite nice. What his thoughts are is that he likes the striped effect, and he feels that it looks quite elegant, and all of these transparent and non-transparent parts look quite interesting. This was a test knit, and the pattern and yarn I received because of this. Here I used Lolita Merino's fingering, and here their mohair. I used 2.5 skeins of merino and a little bit more than 2 skeins of mohair. I think that's quite nice project if you have your special skeins of yarn. You can definitely try to use it here, and I needed the smallest size. Definitely for bigger size you will need a little bit more yarn, but still that's the one which you can try and enjoy with those special skeins. Probably even for this Christmas time you can try to give you some kind of present and knit this project. On the 9th place we have Atlantis top. That was also a test knit. Surprisingly, he prefers probably my test knits. This is a top-down top knitted with contrast edges. I decided to go with olive color of the main body and the white colors of contrast edging. This is also a test knit with sponsored yarn, so the yarn was kindly gifted by BC Garn, and this is their Simila Silk Bloom, which is, I think, 80% of wool, 20% of silk. Probably not too summery, but I quite enjoy it wearing as some kind of layering piece, because right now I can wear it to work because it's quite close, you know, there is not too much of a skin over here, a little bit of a shoulder, and that's it, and you will be warm on it. Plus, as this top basically a ribbed top with 2x2 rib, I think that it hugs me pretty nicely, and in cold weather that's what we need. According to my partner's thoughts, the best part is contrasting edges and the ribbed details. I needed the 3rd size, so for all of you who are quite tiny girlies, this pattern can be a good option for you because you can find a suitable size for you. And this pattern has 12 sizes, so a lot of people may find size appropriate to their measurements, and as this top has a lot of negative ease, I think it's kind of a nice amount of sizes. I got a feeling that his favorite color is green, because we will have a lot of green garments over here. The next one is George's sweater by, once again, Johanna Gehrisch, or Colibri by Johanna on Instagram. This is a sweater that has very nice bow at the back, but you can wear it with this bow in front or on the front, but I have slightly changed it, and I decided to knit it without the bow and finish it kind of like a cardigan. So it's a wrap cardigan right now, which I usually tuck into my trousers or skirts, or even I wear a belt with my dresses and tuck this cardigan into the dress. Probably, yes, I'm absolutely sure that the reason was color. And second reason is that you can wear it with deep V at front or with deep V at the back. If you would like to do the same as I did with this sweater, you will have to increase as the pattern suggests, but when the pattern suggests to increase to create the bow, you will have to continue increasing in the same way as you did it right before the bow, and then finish exactly the same as the pattern suggests with I-cord edging. I remember how I knitted that I-cord edges. It was quite a pain, but definitely worth it. Over here I have knitted it with knitting folded silk mohair, double-stranded of course, in color bottle green. I've used around 6 skeins, and this is quite enjoyable knit because you knit it on 5mm needles, and I find that knitting nice raglan cardigan can be a pleasant and enjoyable project because you increase every right side row, which is easy to remember, and I like those, like those tiny raglan details. I don't know why, but it feels so dainty, and I cannot say unique because we have quite a lot of raglans, but still on this cardigan it feels like a special one. What about the pattern itself? The pattern itself has only 6 sizes, unfortunately, but I feel that it has a lot of room, so probably you can try to wear it for a bigger sizes. And as I mentioned before, you need it on 5mm needles, so it will be a really fast project. The next garment that we have is a sweater, and the only one sweater that I have knitted to my husband, and this is zipper sweater light man. I hated it when I was knitting it because I don't like Sandnes Garden Burgund. I really don't like it. It's itchy for my hands, but my husband finds it's quite nicely to wear, especially on the cold weather. So if he likes it, I'm really happy. It took me probably 4 months to finish it because I'm a selfish knitter, and I really like to knit something that I can wear and not someone. And right now I understood that for me it's easier to knit something, to wear it a little bit, wash, and then give to someone, like to make a present. Probably that will be my option, and maybe I can knit something for him in the same order. Like I will knit something for myself, wear it a little bit. Of course I will have to knit something quite oversized and then gift it. Maybe that's the option. But nevertheless, let's come back to the sweater. He enjoys wearing it, and he included it to this rating because he found it warm, not too itchy. He told me that kind of he have to wear it for 2 or 3 days, and then he used to the irritateness of this yarn. I've knitted 2nd size, but I had to slightly shorten the sleeves because probably in PetiteKnit's men patterns she writes them to quite tall guys. So you have to try it on, but it's definitely something that you have to do with any patterns. You have to try them on while knitting to be sure that they will fit the person who you knit it to. The pattern has 8 sizes, tons of languages that you would like. You have to knit it on 4mm needles, but please gauge swatch because I think that I had to size up slightly with this sweater. It has a lot of positive ease, probably that's why my husband could fit it, but I think that a little bit bigger size would be even better. That's once again a raglan sweater. I do enjoy knitting them and also wearing them. This is a 1/4 zip sweater with 1x1 rib detail over here near your zip. You start from knitting it from the collar, then you start working on your short rows. and at the same time increasing for raglan details. Then after several rounds of short rows, you just knitting flat for some time till you have all your increases over here. And I think that then you join in the round, do a couple more of increases, depending on the size definitely, because for some sizes probably you will have to do quite a lot of increases after you join in the round. And then you split for the sleeves, knit to the hem, finish with 1 by 1 rib once again, then you knit sleeves, decrease each iron rows. I had modified it as well because as I understood that I need to create slightly shorter sleeves, I decided to make decreases a little bit more rapidly, so I could get the same amount of stitches on the cuff. Cuffs are also 1 by 1 rib, and you finish them with Italian bind off. Then you need to kind of like a plank that you can use to hide zipper inside on the inside, and then you sew down your zipper. Probably if you have a sewing machine, it can be a little bit easier. I decided to sew down zipper, which I bought on PetiteKnit website as well, using silk mohair from the previous sweater, because I thought that probably knitting thread, maybe in sewing thread, maybe not so great for the knitting fabric. And I can say that you cannot see any stitches on it, and I spent quite some time. It wasn't the quickest part of this sweater, but I really think that it was worth it. And probably I'll have to ask my husband to take several photos in that sweater, because I never showed those pictures. No one ever seen that sweater on him. We need to fix it. The next pattern that I'm going to share with you is also a green sweater, and this is a Clematis sweater by Maier, or Emma Knits on Instagram, and that was one of the most favorite sweaters from previous year. It's amazing, really. It looks like a cardigan, but it's a sweater because you cannot unbutton it over here. It will be a little bit strange. So this is a drop shoulder sweater with angled button band. You have several buttons, and I think that it is quite a unique construction. I have seen several more buttons, but Emma's one was probably the first one that I've seen. I tried to apply to test knit it, but I wasn't chosen. So as soon as the pattern was released, I bought it and started knitting it. I knitted it with Gabo wool by Silk Yak and Gabo wool fine Peruvian wool. This is a Polish yarn brand. They have not such a great color palette, but right now they're increasing it, so I think that it's easier to find something nice. I knitted this sweater in size 2, and what is the reason why my husband added it here is that diagonal button band, of course. The reason is the diagonal button band and the fact that it looks quite unusual. I really like Emma's version because I think that her version is a little bit more drapier than mine. The fabric of my sweater is, quite stiff. I cannot say that like too stiff, but a little bit stiffer than the one that Emma has, because her sweater really has a lot of drape. I think that's because someone haven't gauge swatched once again. Fortunately, I can fit into that sweater. That's a great option that I can fit it. That's really great that I can fit it, despite the fact that it has a little bit less positive ease than it should have. You start knitting it from the back. You knit, I don't exactly remember whether you have short rows on the back or not. Probably you just knit a rectangle on the back, then you pick up stitches for your first shoulder, knit a little bit, then you cast on stitches for the neckline and knit till you reach the armhole. Then you pick up for another shoulder, and while you knit in the first shoulder, you start decreasing after the neckline, and when you knit another shoulder, you start increasing after the neckline, so you'll keep this diagonal shape. And then you join under the arms, cast on several stitches under the arms, and knit flat, increasing and decreasing at the same time to keep this diagonal go on. Then you knit sleeves. This is my first drop shoulder sweater that had a little bit of short troughs over here to have a little bit better fit, because the drop over here not so significant. That's why you need to add a little bit of shaping on your sleeves. Then you knit sleeves. Simply in the round, add a tiny cuff with 1x1 rib. Then you knit your neckline and button bands. Button bands knitted as for the cardigans usually, and then you have to sew down a little bit over here, add your buttons and enjoy wearing it. The pattern has 8 sizes, and the recommended yarn over here is a DK weight plus lace weight, but I think that I saw several people knitted it with sport weight and silk mohair, and probably that one can be kind of like a little bit more summery version of this cardigan, of this sweater. Definitely amazing item, and I highly recommend you to knit it as well. The next pattern that we have here is City Hiker Beanie. That's one of several patterns that I have knitted several times. I have it in black, and I have this hat in beige color that was a leftover from my cardigan. So this is a pattern by one of my favorite designers. This is Milena Paulina or Milena Juhola on Ravelry. This hat is knitted top down, which I quite enjoy knitting. Right now, I don't know why, but I didn't have a lot of hats like that, and right now I do enjoy knitting them. It also has double folded brim, which surprisingly you knit with double knitting and not folding. That's probably the first hat with... That's the only one hat that I had with brim knitted with double knitting. And then after finishing the hat, you need to block it and then add ear flaps. Probably ear flaps over here is the main part and the main, kind of like difference for this hat. But I saw several people knitted this hat without ear flaps, and it looks kind of nice as well. So probably you can do it like that, but I really like those ear flaps, and I tie it down sometimes over here under my chin if I feel that's too cold outside or too windy. I have knitted this hat in size 2. Of course, for the first time I haven't swatched, as usual. The hat is a tiny bit too small, but with the second one I knitted it with bigger needles, and it's definitely flow of the needles because you knit it on 5mm and 6mm needles. You use super bulky yarn. I've used BC Garn Hamilton Tweed 2 in color black and I think sand, no, natural, and definitely a nice item. The reason why we have this hat in this rating is the yarn that I've used here, because he feels that it's quite cool yarn, black with speckles and natural with speckles, and it's really warm, plus ear flaps and ties. And my husband is quite surprised with I-cord and the edge with I-cord ties, because you cannot see how you finish it and where is the yarn, how it's kind of like magic for him. The next item that we have is White Top by Pernille Larsen or Knitting for Olive brand. You can find this pattern on their website, and this is once again a 2x2 ribbed top, but this one has quite unique and unusual, I would say unusual details which used for the shaping. You needed bottom up, which wasn't the most perfect way that I like to knit, because it's hard for me to understand the length of the garment, but you have to knit it from the bottom up because of the shaping. You start knitting in the round in 2x2 rib, then you go from the bottom to the top, and when you get to the recommended length, you start shaping around the near the bust. You increase and decrease at the same time to get this nice shape, kind of like Y shape. And then you, after finishing shaping, you bind off all your back and continue knitting straps. Then you sew down straps at the back. I have to shorten mine because I knitted it in cotton merino and they slightly too long right now. They stretched a little bit, and that's it. This is definitely one of easiest tops that I have, because I think that yes, you need it with apply the cord, so you don't need to go and add any finishings, which is nice. This pattern has 8 sizes, and the recommended yarn can be knitting for merino, pure silk, cotton merino, so any your favorite light fingering weight yarn. I would suggest knitting with something that has a little bit of a wool content, because probably this top knitted only with pure silk may stretch too much, so try to go with something with wool content. And I think that I don't need even to check why this pattern is here, because yeah, that's because of this shaping. The next one is also hat. This is a Hipster Hat by, of course, PetiteKnit. This is probably the easiest hat that you may need, because it's 2x2 rib that you start knitting in the round from bottom to top. You need 20 probably centimeters or something like that, but you have to try it on to decide how long you have the brim, the body of the hat, because you don't have any folds, so you can fold it however you like. And then you finish it with beautiful decreases at the crown. And those decreases was the reason why I had to knit it twice, because I had cast it on a little bit too much stitches first time, and I couldn't make those increases right, so I had to frog it. Put this hat into a knotty corner and then start knitting once again, but I'm really happy that I have knitted it once again. I've used double Sunday from Sandnes Garn. I've used 1.5 skeins of it, and I think that I want to knit the same hat with Drops Daisy, because a lot of people told me that this is kind of like a dupe for double Sunday, so we have to try, compare and share with you. I like this hat. I like it to wear because I knitted it with really dark blue color, almost black. You can't say that it's dark blue if it's not sunny outside. And it suits with anything you'd like to wear, and the reason it's here because it has hipster in the name, and it's kind of like classy, simple, and really easy to wear hat. Probably have to knit him the same hat, but in a bigger size. And we are almost at the end of our rating. On the second place we have Wabi Sabi Cardi. That's once again a test knit for dear Milena Paulina. I really enjoy a lot of her patterns. I have tested 3 her patterns, and I do enjoy all of them. This is a cardigan where I also received yarn for the test knit, and from the leftover I knitted a hat. So thanks a lot for BC Garn for sponsoring several yarns mentioned here. The yarn that I've used to knit this cardigan is quite interesting because it looks rustic, because you have all those tweedy bits, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels really squishy, warm. It peels a little bit. I cannot say that it peels too drastically. It peels, yes, but I can live with it. Not too much, and I cannot say that it's kind of like terrible and horrible. So not a big problem. The yarn that you have to use to knit this cardigan is bulky weight yarn. That's why it really flies off your needles. I've used 7mm needles for the main body, and literally like 2 weeks and you have a nice cardigan. That's a drop shoulder cardigan. It is cropped with long sleeves and you have very nice detail. It is called lateral braid. Yes. And you have also a braid on your shoulder, like over here, on the back of on the back. Just on the back. You need this cardigan. Oh, we have a cat over here. You need this cardigan starting from the back. You cast on stitches using crochet hook to create this dainty braid, this dainty edge. Then the pattern will suggest to knit it with short rows or without. I recommend to knit it with short rows. I don't have them, but they were included in the pattern a little bit later after I started, and we agreed with the designers that it's okay if you don't want to re-knit it. You can do it, you can finish it as is. Then you knit till your armholes. You pick up stitches for the one shoulder, knit it till the armhole, do the same with another shoulder, then you join on the arms, knit a little bit, add this lateral braid, then you knit once again the recommended amount of centimeters, add additional braid, and then you just knit one by one rib and bind off how you like. Then you pick up for the sleeves, knit half of your sleeve, add a braid, then you add additional second half of the sleeve, a second braid, and then one by one rib for the cuffs, and bind off with Italian bind off. Then you need let me check. Yes, then you need 2 planks for like 2 button bands, and then you need your neckline. It has quite high neckline, which I do enjoy wearing, especially on the colder months. And usually I wear it with skirts or dresses because it's quite cropped, but you need to have sometimes something cropped for your skirts and dresses. And let me tell you about sizing. This pattern has 9 sizes, so it's quite size inclusive, and Milena really tries to have a lot of sizes included into her patterns. And we add the last pattern, like the top one knitted item that I have ever knitted by my husband's thoughts is yarn loop sweater. This is a sweater by Other Loops included into Isaiah Archive collection. This is a colorwork sweater, and I agree with him. The yarn that I've used here was kindly gifted by BC Garn. This is their Loch Lomond in 2 colors. One color is dark blue and another one is gray. This sweater has pretty easy construction. You start from casting on with provisional cast on over here and knit as usual for the drop shoulder. You shape the back part with short rows, then you knit a little bit, and then you start knitting first chunk of the colorwork flat. I know that's not the easiest one for a lot of people, but believe me, over here it's quite easy. You don't have long floats, so it's nice for the first colorwork project, despite the fact that you have a little bit of knitting it flat. Then you unzip your provisional cast on for the first shoulder, shape a little bit shoulder with short rows as well. Then you knit and start forming your neckline. Then you unzip your provisional cast on for another shoulder, knit to the same point, join for your front over here, casting on several stitches, and then you knit a little bit and start working the same color work pattern for the front. Once again, you knit a little bit of a color work flat, and after that you join under the arms and start knitting your color work in the round. I would say that this is the easiest color work that I have ever done, because it was so easy to memorize that I didn't need even a chart. It was so easy to knit. Then you knit all your color work, knit a little bit with a contrasting color, knit a rib with the same contrasting color, and bind off with a tail and bind off. And after that you pick up for your sleeves, knit almost the whole sleeve with your main color, and then add small chunk of a color work at the end of the sleeve. Once again, because there is no long floats, it's not so hard to knit on smaller circumference than the body, and you finish with the same contrast rib as the body. And after that you just knit a small neckline. Neckline over here is not a double folded, it's just a simple 1x1 rib, and I'm not sure that double folded neckline will suit this sweater, honestly. This sweater has unfortunately only 6 sizes, and the recommended yarn over here is light fingering, no, just fingering plus silk mohair. I don't know why, but Ravelry suggests that this is sport weight plus lace, but I think that it's light fingering or fingering just. Nevertheless, if you're interested in this sweater, I really recommend you to try Loch Lomond as alternative for Isaiah yarn, because it will give you the same vibe of tweedy yarn as the recommended one, but it won't be so expensive as the recommended one. And that was it for today. I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this episode. Let me know in the comments below, do you like those patterns? Maybe you'd put them in another order. Have a nice knitting, have a nice day, have a nice knitting time, and don't forget to subscribe. See ya!